segregate prisoners or people that you got incarcerated by crimes or
Oh
most
yeah, yeah, yeah,
violent
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
as somebody with a traffic
Absolutely.
ticket,
Yes.
Yes. They didn't pay.
Yes.
You got picked up.
Yes.
You got a warrant.
Mhm.
You
We
take
put
them
those with
in. It's
those.
2:00 in the morning.
Yes.
Yeah,
So there's a classification system that happens, and we try to classify them so we can put them in places where others have maybe committed the same type of crimes. There's levels to that, and there's a North Point system that directs us on how we do that based on why they're in our facility. So yes, we do have that, and we don't try to mix non-violent residents with violent residents. There's a classification system that doesn't allow for us to do that, and we're glad that it's like that because we don't want to mix them up with those that are non-violent versus violent.
What about those programs you used to say? Okay, go ahead.
It cut out, so we should really restart it because it stopped.
The whole thing?
Yeah. I'm so sorry. So can we redo?
What?
I don't want to miss
Whatever
what
you
you
want to
said.
stop. Yeah, whatever.
Okay, let's.
It's
Okay,
just- I'm just
I know we.
making sure.
Welcome. And one thing, this is Detroit in black and white. This is our weekly, during the week edition. I tell you, when you do stuff live, stuff happens. And here we are with Sheriff Raphael Washington,
Yes,
Wayne County Sheriff.
Yes,
He
sir.
was on our show on Saturday, and 10 minutes, 15 minutes don't do you justice. So we wanted you to come back and do this special show.
Thank you for having me.
Jim Nardoni, former police chief from Trenton. How you doing, Jim?
Very well, thank you.
Here we are at Johnny's Ramsey. Great food.
Yeah.
Downtown Trenton. Never
30 years.
been downriver until I start hanging out with you, man. But anyway, you're all dressed up in your nice uniform.
Yes.
What's happening today? And welcome to, we can see us on what? Facebook Live,
Facebook Live,
Instagram, YouTube. Okay.
Deadline Detroit.
Yes.
Okay.
So
today we graduated 17 people.
okay.
Just a hour ago, into our academy. 17 men and women who decided they wanted a career in law enforcement, and they wanted to have that career in the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. I was even responsible for putting one in myself. There's a couple that came in. Their relatives are currently sheriff deputies in our agency, and we're excited. We're excited about that. The 17 that came in today, they all, as I swore them in, as I gave them their badges, I asked them, "Is this a career job for you?" And they said yes. All of them said yes. I'm going to be here. I'm not going to jump in and then jump out. And that's what we're looking for, career people.
If you had a wish list, how many people would have been graduating today?
200.
Okay.
200. That's my wish list, absolutely. And so since that wasn't possible today, we're just going to keep pecking at it until we get our population up to where it should be as it relates to our sheriff deputies who want to come into the agency. I came in 21, making that a huge part of why I wanted to be in, and when I was going to be in, and I was fortunate enough to be appointed the sheriff at that time in 21. They asked me, "What's your three things?" And I said, "Recruitment, morale." Those things are important to me because I've been a law enforcement officer, and I know how it is when you have help and you have your manpower at a place where it should be. I know what morale does for someone working in our agency. And so those things are important to me, and I'm just here to say that we're going to keep working at it. As long as I'm the sheriff, that's important to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I want to pay tribute to a couple of your deputies, if I could.
Sure.
Go back to 2020. You lost Corporal Searcy that was violently attacked. In 1991, Sergeant Dickerson
Yes.
was also killed.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about those and how you pay tribute to those officers?
Sure. So we pay tribute to Sergeant Dickerson by his name being put on one of our facilities, Dickerson facility in Hamtramck. Unfortunate incident when he was a sergeant there. There was a gun smuggled into our jails for some. And I was in the Detroit Police Department at that time, but he was killed that way by a gun being smuggled in, and I guess they were trying to talk the guy out of it, so to speak, and he ended up getting killed, shot. And Officer Searcy, again, we're talking about old jails, as I discussed all the time, that we're moving, because in those jails that we operate, you have to go inside after you close them. You want to go in and check them, make sure they're closed and locked. Well, he went in on the floor and it wasn't locked. And one of the inmates came out and there was an altercation between he and the inmate, and he ended up passing away. I don't know a lot of the medical things of it, but I think he had some issue medically, and he ended up passing.
For the record, you were not sheriff for either of those.
I was not
obviously.
sure for any of those.
I'd also like to pay tribute to Commander Collins and Deputy Savard,
I was a sheriff for them. Yes.
Sheriff Napoleon, who
Yes.
they lost their life along with two physicians at your facility, or we're not sure exactly how they caught it, but they were they had COVID, and I think it's important to let the public know that the dangers that the deputies face every day when they go to work, not dealing with COVID, and how you work through that.
COVID was something else. It was a lot. Nanafe Collins in March was his office and my office adjoined each other. I was a deputy chief and he was a commander, and he and I office was right next to each other, and he would come in my office during that time. We didn't know what COVID was. Nobody had a name for it. And he was coughing and hacking and going through that. And I'm saying, down the face, something's wrong. You got to go to the doctor and see what's wrong. He said, I'll be all right. I said, no. You have to go to the doctor. I'm going to take you right now. Or something's going on. It's Donovan Collins, my friend. And he said, okay, I'll go, but I'm going to drive, go to the doctor, and I'm going home and take care of it. He goes to the hospital in Grosse Pointe, and they keep him. And about 8 days later, he was dead. You know, and that was, and the other officer, Savard, he caught it, and he passed away. And then my good friend and brother, Benny Napoleon, who had been with for over 30 years in law enforcement, coming out of the Detroit Police Department, he asked me to come with him into the sheriff's office when he was appointed sheriff.
He did.
I retired from the Detroit Police Department on Friday, went to work with him, and back into the sheriff's office for me in 2009. Because remember, I started my career in the sheriff's office in 1983.
That's right.
To 85, yes.
And so,
Go
so the
ahead.
deputies never failed to answer the bell for you
Never.
during COVID or since, ever
We
since
had to
you've
go
been
to
sheriff.
work. We had to go to work. We have a resident population that we stopped movement in there and tried to make sure that they were good and that they were safe. I don't recall any resident population over that we had passing away of COVID.
Okay, that's what the next question I was going to ask.
I don't recall that at all because we cut the movement, segregated, kept them where they were, had to do recreation and things as they were. Because obviously, if you're moving about, you're running into people that may have it. You don't even know you have it until you get deathly sick, or back in that time. And so we did everything we could to make sure that we kept them safe as well as ourselves. But we had to go to work. It's we don't have snow days and days off, and it's too hot, it's too cold, and we have to go to work.
And I think
Let me ask you this question. People locked up in jail, they haven't been sentenced or whatever. Can somebody vote absentee out of the jail?
Yeah, well, we have a system where they come in and register those to vote, who are if they live in the area where they can vote and where our jail is located. yeah, they come in and register to vote, and they can vote. And we have various agencies that come in to do that, and we let them in to do. We're trying. They haven't been convicted, most of them, of anything. So they're in our facility because whatever they did, a judge may have said is so they're accused of doing something, and it's so egregious that they don't give them a bond, or if they give them a bond, they can't afford to make that bond. So they're in our facility, but they haven't been convicted of anything. So we have to give them those opportunities.
What about the programs you used to see folks on the highways picking up trash and doing that? Do you still have that?
So those are kind of state ran.
It's not the county.
They used to be. I think the county used to do that back in the day. I don't know what's going on with that, but we still have programs.
Would you rather see somebody doing that kind of community work than you got to lock them up and
Yeah, and if it called for that, where we were in the position to do that, I'd like to see that. Because if it's not a violent crime, or it's something that they're accused of that lightweight, make them, they'll come out and do some community service. I'm not against that at all. So, but those decisions are made higher up through the judicial system, and that's where that comes in.
Okay, what are you looking forward to in the new facility? That's going to be a game changer now that when you move everybody.
So I think the game changer is simply going to be the fact that we're in a new facility, a new state-of-the-art facility, where we're not operating old, antiquated jails as we are doing now. It's going to be brand new. It's going to be a morale booster for our resident population, as well as for our sheriff's deputies who have to go to work in these conditions that we should not be working in. Elevators break down regularly. There's graffiti over the walls that's been there for decades. As you take it off, you try to make the place as good as you can, as best as you can make it while we're there. But the fact is, these jails, we have a jail that's 90-something years old, and that we're operating. A jail that I worked in when I first started in 1983, when it was the only Wayne County jail. That jail's old, and we can't wait to get out of there. So we don't have to worry about it. It's the elevator going to work, it's things like that. So yeah, that's the game changer in itself, that our resident population will feel like, at least, I got to be here. So at least it's a place that looks like we're serving them in a dignity and quality manner that they deserve still. And that our sheriff deputies get to come to work knowing that they're not going to be met with the things that can depress you and just kill your morale. We're going into a state-of-the-art facility. And so I think that's the game changer as it relates to those two, resident population, our sheriff deputies, and it's a game changer that people are going to come into our facility for business and whatever they have to do in court or the prosecutor's office, and they're going to see, I think this is a place I like to work. This is top notch. And so I think we're going to be fine. Well, once we get in there and the people can see that, this is a place that's that says, welcome, we like to have you, and this is what it looks like when you come to work every day.
But Teresa, can we take a break? And we'll come back and we'll talk about the NFL draft, et cetera.
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago.
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Since we lost that income, the bills have been piling up, and we're so far behind. I don't want to lose the house because of back taxes. I don't know what to do.
I understand. The same thing happened to my sister and her husband when he lost his job. Do you know that the Wayne County Treasurer has plans and programs to help people stay in their homes?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Yeah, go to www.treasure.waynecounty.com and see if you qualify.
What's that site again?
www.treasure.waynecounty.com.
Got it.
Agree. That's a good
Okay,
chance.
we're back here with Sheriff Raphael Washington, Jim Nardoni. Jim, you had a question
I have
for
a
the sheriff.
tough question for you, Sheriff.
Sure.
I know it's all difficult. This is
Mhm.
regarding a young man, gentleman, not a
Mhm.
young man, who's in his 50s that died in the jail back in 2023, back in the summer, I believe.
Yeah.
And he was beaten. Apparently, he was beaten to death. But
Mhm.
I know there's some litigation. You can't really talk about it. But
Right.
I guess my question to you is, what are you doing in the new jail to reduce the risk, both for your deputies and for the residents?
So what I'm doing and what my command staff is doing, that we're, as I just did today, with the 17 that came in today, I preached to them that there's no shortcuts in law enforcement. You have to do the job the right way. And if you do the job the right way, we put ourselves in a position to be able to best serve our resident population. Some things were not done the right way. And I don't want to get deep into that because there is litigation going. But if you do the job the right way, we minimize those kind of things.
So risk management is a priority to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It has to be. You have to serve. I tell the population all the time, there are no shortcuts in law enforcement. And that's anything that you're doing in law enforcement. Because if you do, you set yourself up to not be successful and even to put yourself in harm's way.
Thank you.
Well, your opponent from the last election, who's running again, Joan Merriweather,
Yes.
said the sheriff department is not prepared for an emergency. If something comes down, you're going to be caught with your pants down. How do you respond to that?
It's absolutely incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. The sheriff's department is prepared for anything that happens, as we in law enforcement must do. And we have training that speaks to the contrary of anybody making a statement like that. We're out here protecting and serving every day. We have road patrol officers out here every day that are protecting and serving various counties, various municipalities in Wayne County. We have tether units out here in the street checking on those who are on tether. If any major disaster happens, and it's been proven because we had one late last year in Van Buren, happens, our officers are here to assist all other municipalities. And we were out there in Van Buren where there was a small airplane crash, one of the first on the scene, doing what that we need to do as law enforcement, which is seeing about those disasters. And that's a disaster when you have a plane crash. And that's what we do, and that's what we'll continue to do. So people who make statements like that, as you said, Ms. Merriweather, who used to be a part of the agency, when you leave and you're disconnected and you don't know exactly what's going on today, that's when you make statements like that. It's not factual.
How often do y'all have drills? Or
Yes, we have field force training drills. We have active shooter drills. We have our waterways, our divers, they have drills. Our canine units and our horses train every month. You have to have, our officers have court training and how they what they should be doing in our various courts. Training is huge in law enforcement. Have to have training regularly so you can be ready for those things that may occur and know best practices, because things change on how we should approach various situations. And so you have to train for all of that. And we do that. As the largest sheriff's office in the state of Michigan, and in the top 3 largest in population combined with police and sheriff's deputies, we're right up there. And we're training as often as we can for any kind of disaster that may happen. Our SWAT team trains regularly. They train every month. We just had a major collaborative training as it relates to major airplane crashes in our area. You know, this is a heavy area. We had a major airplane crash back in the 80s, Flight 255. I'll never forget it. I was on the Detroit Police Department at that time. All the agencies in the area had to come out and see about that. Training is essential, and we don't shortcut training at all.
You know, some years ago when I don't know if Ficano was the sheriff,
Okay.
Robert Ficano,
Mhm.
and there was a back and forth debate with the Detroit Police Department about riding buses,
Oh.
making them safe.
Mhm.
What about you know, people are kind of scared to ride the bus these days, and you know, do y'all deal with that anymore?
No,
is
no,
that,
we
is,
don't.
is that a Detroit?
That's strictly a Detroit Police Department situation. When I was started with the Detroit Police Department, there was a thing that we called the Bluebirds. They officers undercover, kind of plain clothes, rode the buses and made sure the buses were okay. At some point during that time, and I was not in leadership in Detroit Police Department, was not in the sheriff, was not back into the sheriff's office. The sheriff's deputies became involved in riding the buses and making sure things were safe. I remember that well. And something happened in between that. Again, I was not high enough in that level to even know what happened, but something happened where Detroit Police Department ended up getting it back. And now they're riding the buses and they're doing things to keep the passengers on the bus in the city of Detroit safe.
What some of the cities that you really work with that have some issues, don't have enough officers? I'm looking at Highland Park or Inkster or Hamtramck.
Yes.
These little,
You just named them, and we as the Wayne County Sheriff's Office are out there making sure that we're offering assistance and doing the things we need to do to make sure that the residents of Inkster and Ecorse and Hamtramck and Highland Park, making sure that whatever it is that we can do that they would ask us to do, that we're doing it, and we're doing it regularly. Right now, we're doing that. We're in Inkster. Our satellite location is at Henry Ruff and Michigan Avenue, right on the border of Inkster and Westland. We're in those communities, whether it be assisting them with major traffic accidents, whether it be adding some traffic enforcement for them so they can answer calls to service, because you still get 911 calls. It's hard to do 911 calls when you're short at a place like Inkster or Hamtramck or Romulus, or not Romulus, but Ecorse, and those places who call on us regularly because they have to answer them 911 calls, but they still want their neighborhood sustained with drag racing and drifters being targeted to make sure that those things aren't happening in their community. So we're out there regularly doing those things to help those who are short in our area, extremely short in manpower. We're helping them, even though we're short in manpower as well.
How many satellite offices do you have in the county?
We have the Henry Ruff Road in Michigan is our major one. We have partnered with some one that we know of business at no cost to the county to come in. It's a place where we take our vehicles to have them worked on. Well, we're there waiting on vehicles. We have officers sitting there doing reports and catching up with the work they need to catch up with while their vehicles are being maintenance. And so while they're there, we add it adds a little presence that, the law enforcement is here as well, so it works out.
I do have a question.
Sure.
So over my career, I started in 1990. The Wayne County Sheriff's Department had a great presence right here in Trenton with the Marine Division, and we always had a great relationship with the Sheriff's Department.
Yes.
So what are you doing with these along those same lines, going into some of these communities? And I mean, the beautiful Elizabeth Park is here. It's a quarter mile down the road.
Yes.
And that's a Wayne County park.
Yes.
And can you just tell us a little bit about
Sure.
it?
So as Elizabeth Park, you'll have a big festival, jazz festival every year.
Right in August.
The Wayne County Sheriff's Office is in full force, as you know, doing what it is that we need to do for traffic, whether it's for protection of those that are there, just walking through the venue, making sure everybody's good. Our Marine unit is docked in Trenton,
Right.
and we just got a brand new dock area there for the boats, and we're building a new house for them, Marine unit office for them as well. So we have a heavy footprint in Trenton.
Are you building a
And,
permanent building down there? Because
Yeah, oh yeah. That's in the process. That's in process right now. We're not going anywhere, so don't worry about it, Chief. We're gonna be here for you, and we're happy about that.
So you are in Trenton.
Yes, we have
Always.
a huge footprint in Trenton.
Okay.
Is that right,
that's
Chief?
always.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir.
There's no question. The NFL draft coming.
Mhm.
They saying there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people.
It is.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
It's-
Why
it's
would they
huge.
come for just to hear somebody's name being called?
It's huge. That draft is huge. It's big as the Super Bowl and things. And
How many agencies involved
Oh.
in providing protection
Yes.
and making people safe? I saw today they're putting up cameras downtown.
yes.
You know, are those going to be permanent or are they going to,
Well, I'm not sure because they're taking some spotlights out, some traffic lights out. I saw that, and to put other mechanisms in place for the draft. So I have to think it's just temporary because you still got to have spotlights when the draft go away. Traffic lights and things. I'm not traffic lights, but regular lights.
So how are you gonna deal with this crowd? Remember the fireworks?
Mhm. I
And
worked the fireworks
man, the
for
fireworks
many
was
years.
like a nightmare until the city got a handle on it.
Mhm, mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
how do you stop people from packing a gun?
Well, we've got situations now where people have to where they're going to gather. They have to go through a sort of a metal detector to make sure there's no illegal guns coming through that way, or gun-free zones where during these major events they may not be able to carry their law-abiding citizens who have CPL license. Probably won't be able to bring guns through those areas. So there's always things in play to make sure that we as law enforcement are protecting and serving those who want to come downtown. This is what we want. A lot of people to come down to downtown Detroit, have a good time, be safe. We have, so as it relates to these kind of events like the draft, we have federal partners, our state partners, our county partners, our city partners. Everybody comes together to make sure that because people are coming from everywhere in our Wayne County area, in Oakland County, Washington, wherever they're coming from, as well as from out of town. So we bring everybody on board as it relates to law enforcement to make sure they feel a sense of safety while they're here.
Okay, Teresa, let's take one more break. And
Thanks, Charles, for letting me use your gardening supplies. I'll make sure I put it back in the garage. Man, tending to that lawn is a lot of work.
Tell you the truth, Jim, I'm more concerned about keeping this house.
What's going on?
Well, Sarah lost her job 2 months ago, right?
Yeah.
Since we lost that income, the bills have been piling up, and we're so far behind. I don't want to lose the house because of back taxes. I don't know what to do.
I understand. The same thing happened to my sister and her husband when he lost his job. Do you know that the Wayne County Treasurer has plans and programs to help people stay in their homes?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Yeah, go to www.treasure.waynecounty.com and see if you qualify.
What's that site again?
www.treasure.waynecounty.com.
Got it.
yes, we're back with Sheriff Raphael Washington from Wayne County.
Yes.
You know what? You put Wayne County in there, you might get Indiana. Or, Wayne County at one time used to be all of Ohio, all of Indiana, and Michigan.
Is that right?
Mad Anthony Wayne. He
Wow.
was-
Okay.
That's who it is.
So they named everything after him.
Wayne
County,
Trails. Toledo.
Yeah, you could just
Wayne
no
County
question.
is a wonderful place to be.
Sheriff,
Yes.
you're running for re-election.
Yes.
Why should you get reelected?
Well, I think I should be
You
reelected.
you served with distinction with the Detroit Police Department.
Yes.
You started your career with
Sheriff's
Wayne.
office.
Yeah.
Yes.
and you could be somewhere on a boat, on a beach,
I
or
could be.
traveling around the world,
Yes.
enjoying
Yes.
life and
Yes.
not the stress of this.
Yes.
So why should I say
Because
bring him back?
I still have a passion to want to serve. I mean, Adolph, seriously, I have not worked a day in my adult life since I started law enforcement in 1983. I actually started my law enforcement career in 1978 when I joined the Michigan National Guard as a military police officer while I was waiting to be hired through Detroit Police Department. Then I went to the sheriff's office in 83, 85, I went to the Detroit Police Department. This is all I've ever wanted to do, was to protect and serve people. To drive that scout car down the street and wave at Mr. and Mrs. Brown, how you doing? Have a good day today. Can I help you? That's all our service is what I have done all of my life. Even when I was a teenager and I was serving my church, driving a van to pick up seniors as a 16, 17-year-old. I wanted to do that because I was going to be at church anyway. Back then, you had to go to church when you were born.
Oh,
You understand?
Yeah.
So I've been serving the community and people all my life, and I still want to do. Why you want me to be your sheriff? Because I'm accessible to you. First of all, I give folks my phone number when I'm talking to 300 people, or if I'm talking to 30 people. I give my phone number out. Call me if you have questions, if you need something. I don't know a lot of people that do that. I don't know a lot of people that do this job in law enforcement after 41 years. As you said, you could be out, living your life. You can be out doing the things that you want to do with your families. And I find a way to manage that, but I still want to serve. I still want to serve. And so that's why you want someone like me who does not doing this for a title, doing it for the passion that drives me to want to serve. I didn't quit this job to retire, say, I don't want to retire. And then something happens and you think it's an opening, the sheriff's, let me go be the sheriff now. Well, you could have continued to do that and possibly set a pathway and be knowledgeable about the changes that have happened in law enforcement.
Were you surprised that you was appointed sheriff? I know nobody expected Benny to die.
Exactly.
There's no question
we're
about
not
it.
talking about that at all. But to be able to put myself in a position to be one of the 14 who applied for this position to be appointed and having to interview, I was ecstatic that I was chosen. Me and my wife, when we heard my name, we couldn't even, we cried in our bedroom to know that I was going to be able to succeed my hero, somebody that I worked with, somebody I vacationed with, our families break bread together, that I was going to be able to succeed him and advance his legacy while I build my own. I thought that was huge.
What do you think of the first African American sheriff here, Bill Lucas?
Yeah.
I'd always say, people say, he went and ran as a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
I say that ain't got nothing to do with your politics,
Mm-hmm.
but a person like that blazed the
trail.
Yes.
Yeah. And he did. And I had a chance to work with his son in the Detroit Police Department. I had a chance to be at his wife's funeral and escort them to her final resting place. And so those are things that I really enjoy doing, just simply serving people. I've been doing this since 1983 in the city and county area in law enforcement, doing some of the worst things you can do in law enforcement, some of the most dangerous things you can do in law enforcement. And I wake up the next day and say, I want to go do it again. And today, after 41 years doing this, I still want to wake up tomorrow and serve people.
So if somebody want to work on your campaign,
sure,
you say you give out your numbers.
Yeah.
So give out some numbers.
Yeah. So if you want to work on our campaign, you simply need to go to www.sheriffwashington.com. Period. Not a period on it, but that's the easiest way to get in there and help me to help you. Because I always say that if it's good for me, it's going to be good for the citizens of Wayne County. Because I'm not doing this for a title. I'm doing this to serve you, to meet the people of Wayne County, as I've been doing every day of my life since 1983 to this point, every single day.
How do you convince some of these young folks to come out and say, well, we want to, growing up, you played cops and robbers, or you wanted to be a doctor.
We're
or
not giving
nurse,
you the gun. We're not giving you the gun.
Well, I don't
We'll give it to the sheriff.
let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
You probably already
My
had a
father,
couple.
my father went hunting all the time.
Mhm.
We knew where the loaded
knew where
guns were,
Mhm.
and we knew not to go in that closet and look at it.
Yeah.
We played with toy
There
guns.
you go.
We
Water
had
guns.
BB
Remember water
guns.
guns?
Yeah, and had BB guns,
Yeah,
but we didn't mess with the real guns.
No.
So how you get some of these young folks who saying, well, I don't really want to go to college,
Yeah.
or I want, you know what, the military,
Mhm. Mhm.
maybe I might go to the army, be an MP, and then
Yeah.
come out and
Yep.
join the police department.
Something
Do
like
you
that.
have an outreach program?
So we're out with our recruiters going to various armed forces stations and high schools and places like Sir Metro, and where people are going and trying to get jobs. We are in those places all the time, letting them know that, listen, everybody's not going to college right out of high school. Everybody's still, some of them are still trying to figure out what it is they wanted to do. I didn't have the luxury of going to college straight out of high school. And there's many leaders in law enforcement, and I know them, who didn't have that luxury as well, whether it was the grades were good, but maybe a home situations didn't call for that. Maybe it weren't good enough to really get full scholarship rides to college, single family homes such as mine. We had to go to work. And so I go to talk to those young people to say, if this is your plight, if you're trying to figure it out, come be a part of the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. Come into law enforcement. It's still a noble profession. You can come in at 18 years old with a GED or a high school diploma, start a career, make money, and before you know it, it's a career job where you have your own home now. You're starting a family, and you're able to fend for yourself because we have jobs for you. And so I tell the young people that, listen, and then some of them will say, I really don't want to be involved in law enforcement. I see these white officers killing unarmed black men. I don't think that's right. And it's not right. However, if you want to see the change, you have to be the change. Come into our agency, go into law enforcement, and be the change that you want to see. Don't be disgusted with it only from the outside. Come inside, be that officer that you know you can be, the change that you want to see. And I promise you, start that with that frame of mind. One day you become the sheriff of Wayne County.
Okay.
Quick question.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the reservist program and your volunteers and how they're working with you. And there was a question about exploitation of reservists. I'm not really familiar. That came across the screen. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
How are you utilizing reservists? People saying, well, the reservists, people like to wear a uniform too. What do you do with your reserve?
When we get rogue reserve officers who come in for the wrong reason, we get rid of them. First of all, let's be clear on that, because we find out who they are. They tell us who they are right quick with the antics and things that they come up with. Our reserve officers who come in, as if just like they come into the Detroit Police Department, the Livonia Police Department, all these other agencies who have reserve officers, they're there to simply help the police department that they serve, where they live, to be a presence where you need volunteers or where you could use volunteers for various things, whether they be festivals in your community, parades in your community, the various things that we can have them do as volunteers, which go down to Ford Field. Everybody's short. Can you imagine everything that's going on downtown in Detroit? You could really actually have 4 different arenas going on at the same time, or 3 of them. Little Caesars could be going on, Fortville could be going on,
Sure.
and Comerica Park could be going on, and the Fox Theater could be going on
Right.
at the same time. Could you imagine how difficult that would be for even the Detroit Police Department to go down and try to manage all of that at one time? So that's what reserve officers with Detroit Police Department and Sheriff's Office, that's where they come in and help direct traffic and help have a presence of the police officers are here and hopefully to deter situations. It's not exploiting anything. It's coming together because we're stronger together as we collaborate together. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office, Detroit Police Department, other agencies that I get to deputize them as Wayne County Sheriff deputies. So the crime that may take them out of their community, they'll be able to chase that and follow that and bring it back and add some solution to things that happen. We work together.
Well, I appreciate that because we lost some of our best auxiliary officers
Mhm.
to the Wayne County Reserve. So they ended up leaving. We'd have them, they'd stay for a year or two.
Is
It's
that
kind of
right?
like a regular police department. They go, well, we're going to the suburbs. We're going here. We're going to the Wayne County Reserves for numerous reasons.
But because
over the
I
years.
guess if there's a lot that they can do with, in a bigger city, obviously. Some of the smaller cities may not have as much going on,
Right.
and they just want to do more. I would say that might be a reason because we don't go out recruiting necessarily for reserve officers. They come to us. We send them to major training to make sure that they understand what it is that they're doing, even as volunteers. And we have doctors, lawyers, business people who come in as kind of older people, established, that say they want to now serve. They don't have to do that.
Right.
They want to volunteer to serve the community where they live.
Can you get some old people walking around?
Yeah, long as they can handle the business of being a volunteer and what it is we ask them to do.
You can do it, Adolf.
You can do it.
I done my time.
Listen, we don't have an age limit even coming into the sheriff's office. You can pass the test.
I can barely walk.
You can do it. You can do it.
But anyway, you get Sheriff
Yes.
Raphael Washington.
Yes.
You got the last word on Detroit in Black and White, our weekly show here at Ramsey's in downtown
Mhm.
Trenton.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
So this is what I want to do. I want to continue to serve the people of Wayne County. That's all I've ever wanted to do. I'm in this position, was appointed by two of the most honorable women in government. That's the Wayne County prosecutor, Kim Worthy, and the Wayne County clerk, Kathy Garrett. Had the utmost confidence in me that I could do this job. Coming from a career of protecting and serving through the Detroit Police Department and the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. The people of Wayne County who I interact with daily understand that. They know me. They trust me. I don't have games to play with people when I have to put my life on the line to protect you, Adolf, and possibly lose my life at the same time. You can't play games with that. You have to have it in your heart to be serious and genuine about what it is that you want to do. That's why I do this. That's why I want to continue to do this. It irks my spirit to have people say nonsense and things when it comes, because it's the silly season of politics when you have to run and retain the office that people have already said we want you to be in this position. And here comes people from nowhere who don't want to be in this position, just want to talk about silly stuff that relates to protecting and serving. And these are some former people who used to do this, who probably didn't have the best disciplinary record in the agency, in agencies around our area. I don't know why they do this. That's not what I do. I am not that person. I simply want to protect and serve.
Okay, he had the last word, Sheriff Raphael Washington, Wayne County Sheriff. Thank you
so
very
much.
much. We're gonna have to have you come back.
Please,
You
I
know.
love to come back.
And
I love to talk.
and I want to thank Johnny and Mia, Jim, Teresa. This is Adolph Mongo, Detroit Black and White. See us on Saturday at 10 o'clock at McShane's. We're here on where? We're Facebook Live, Instagram,
YouTube,
Telegram,
Deadline Detroit.
and Billy Graham. Take care. We get picked up.
Okay,
You know
great.
what?
So people watch even when it goes off.